In this comparative study, I will be analyzing how The Godfather, a 1972 film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and The Royal Tenenbaums, a 2001 film directed by Wes Anderson, portray American patriarchal family dynamics through a feminist theory lens. I'll examine how these two films have contrasting portrayals of dysfunctional and complex families. We see how specifically there is a subversion of traditional gender norms in The Royal Tenenbaums and a more typical portrayal in The Godfather. American patriarchals have so often been in film challenging societal norms and expectations.
But we are a family. And even in this fucked up day and age, that means something.
Commonly, the father is shown as the decision-maker and the central power across most film genres. These ideals often mirror societal expectations, but over time, these ideas have been challenged and reshaped through cinema. Over time, this ideal has been reinforced in film throughout different eras, changing these dynamics. The two drama films with different cultural contexts, The Royal Tenenbaums and The Godfather, contribute to diverse manifestations in different eras of patriarchal family dynamics.
The Royal Tenenbaums follows a large dysfunctional family, the Tenenbaums, in their large family mansion. It follows the family as the three Tenenbaum siblings, Chaz, Margot, and Richie, were prodigies at a young age. Over time, the children lose their talent and all experience collapse in their life, which draws the family farther from each other. Royal, the patriarch of the family, goes to large measures and tells the family of his terminal illness in hopes to bring the family back together. The story follows and explores each family member's individual struggles, as this reflects the different individual social dynamics of different families. In The Royal Tenenbaums, you see how empowerment of female characters is encouraged and how we are shown the complexities and struggles of not only the males, but the female characters. The Godfather is a crime drama released in the early 70s, as the film is based on a Mario Puzo novel. It follows the Corleone family, a powerful Italian-American family at heart of the mafia. The patriarchal family has Vito Corleone, the father, the head of the family, who calls the shots and is the boss. With the traditional male-dominated family in The Godfather, you see how females have little regard in the family business and are largely defined by their relationships with the males. The youngest son, Michael, happens to stay away from family business until one day he is somehow pulled in. The story follows the complexities and all the drama of the dynamics of the family and the power this family holds in society. Through crime and drama, you see the power of loyalty and some societal norms in regards to mafia and power dynamics.
The Royal Tenenbaums and The Godfather both use cinematography to highlight the importance of aesthetics and the narrative of the story. In the first scene of The Godfather, it opens to a scene of a man in very low-key lighting. As Gordon Willis is known as the Prince of Darkness for his cinematography, this is very evident in this scene as the lighting is very dark. The darkness and shadows in this scene emphasize the more mysterious ambiance of the movie. As the first scene is a fading technique with lighting and depicts a push away from Bonacera into a side silhouette of Vito Corleone, the mystery of Vito becomes thrilling, and the shadows really emphasize the secrecy of the Corleone family. You also see this in the scene in the 5 family gatherings. You see the dark ambiance prevails. This signifies the behind-the-scenes dealings and the hidden influence and major power they all have in society. In The Royal Tenenbaums, the movie begins with a long tracking shot of each of the family members. The Royal Tenenbaums follows a warmer palette, but the colors, when we introduce the characters, correlate with each of their personalities. It shows the quirky personalities of each one. One example could be Chaz. Chaz has faced much hardship and emotional strain in the past, including his wife's death and his strained relationship with his father. But as you see, he wears red a lot, which symbolizes his frustrations, like their individuality over time. The scenes are very warm, which represents the very whimsical and nostalgic and unique lives of the Tenenbaums. Here you see the scene with Richie and Margot. As you see here throughout the film, static shots and symmetrical composition are employed. This creates a sense of control and central focus in the characters, as they are very centered in the frame, but also offers formalism and more time for you to really see visual cues and the emotions of the characters. The set of the two films is very apparent to each of their movies, like the whimsical and vibrant set of The Royal Tenenbaums and the dark and shadowy set of The Godfather to symbolize the mysterious and secretive nature of the Corleone family. The visual aesthetic and angle shots are noteworthy as it creates thematic depth and complexity for the two movies.
The Royal Tenenbaums and The Godfather both use specific editing techniques like cross-cutting to portray the importance of the scenes and help the audience stay engaged. The baptism scene uses asynchronous sound and parallel editing as you see this final climax. In these scenes, moments as Michael says to becoming the godfather of his niece, he also becomes godfather as the head of the Corleone family. He renounces Satan and his sins as the scene cuts to a massacre killing done by him that progresses of the 5 mafia families. The sound carried on contrasts between a sacred church ceremony and the violent sound of murder, as this generates tension and keeps the audience at the edge of their seats. The jump cuts between scenes also creates tension, as you see everything happening at once. The scene repeatedly cuts to Michael to see us facilitating the whole thing. The importance of this close-up shot is to get you personal with Michael as you see his guilty face. Similar techniques are employed in the scene as Michael meets with the police captain and Soloso. The meeting is put forth as a peace agreement. Michael has but Michael has been told other plans and must kill them. As he faces reality, you see the close-ups of Michael, as he typically is not part of the family business. You see the uncomfort in his face, as the closest in the scene helps you understand the transformation of Michael. In the final reunion scene of the Tenenbaums, you see how certain editing is used to convey emotion. As the scene builds tension, cross-cutting between characters in each location shows each of their own storylines coming back together and reuniting. Through the movies, you really see the complexity of each character and how each of them have their internal flaws, where it shows how they all come together in the end. The parallel editing, as you see their thoughts, builds tension and importance. There's emphasis on these certain shots as you really come close, and it gives you time to explore the emotional growth over time in the sad ending. Another example includes the scene of Margot getting off the bus to see Richie. The scene is in slow motion as her hair blows in the wind and really romanticizes her as you see Margot in Richie's eyes. You see close-up and medium shots as the close-ups make you more personal with them in this intimate scene. The slow motion, the pacing of the scene is long as you cut back and forth between their expressions and you feel like you're a part. It is very emotional as Richie is tragically in love with her and you have to watch them. As the scene is slowed down, the director wants you to slow down and feel the intimacy and emotion packed in the scene, as they're bombed so close. Both these scenes establish editing techniques and pacing to help you understand and create flow. Through the selection and arrangement of these shots, it ensures heightened tension and emotions. This keeps the audience engaged, as the pacing gives time to resolve. As the two actions are very contrasting between the two movies, you see how each family goes about processes in their life and how the sacrifices they must make for their families.
In The Royal Tenenbaums and The Godfather, they both utilize distinct mise-en-scène through unique setting, colors, and visuals to enrich the characters' emotions towards the scenes. In the scene in The Royal Tenenbaums where Richie attempts to take his life, you see flashbacks of memory from Richie's past. This scene is established as he walks into a room where the whole set is very blue, setting a gloomy and sad ambiance. You see over Richie's shoulder with an over-the-shoulder shot where you really see Richie as he sees himself. The music and props intensifies the situation as it is very emotional and the set is very gloomy, signifying the fall events. The scene has jump cuts as you really get a faster version of the process Richie goes through and engage with the emotional weight of the situation. Also, another scene includes the first dining room table scene. Everything is set out very specifically as the three children are dressed in color, purposely reflecting each other's characteristics. It actually depicts the family dynamic at the time, as you see Royal at the head of the table and the kids all together at the other side. It offers a sense of authority to the father and the importance of this scene to understand the rest of its history. In The Godfather, the scene where you see Michael talking to Kay about what went down with his sister, you see in the set as Michael is in the same office as his dad was previously. You see as Kay starts to realize his turn to the Godfather. One prop that signifies that is him pulling out a cigarette. He smokes a cigarette with much authority and stands behind the desk as he becomes the head of the family. Not much is said as he's very short with her, and there is absence of diegetic sound, which makes the scene more raw. You see his change from being a loyal partner to Kay, not involved in the family business, to being the head and actually partaking in the practices. Another example includes the scene in which Vito Corleone sits in the garden with his grandson. As you see Vito's expression and state is very relaxed and almost worn down, he seems powerless as he's at an old age. The prop of the water garden is important as Vito hands it over to Anthony, which signifies his handing over the power. His comments like over here and be careful shows his hesitant nature to hand over the family business. The props, the cigarette, razor, and water gun are important as one signifies a turn to power, one signifies a turn to death, as Richie used that to try to attempt suicide, and the water gun, which is another turn to power. Mise-en-scène is important as it allows the director to convey his message to the audience through the placement of items and things in a scene to make a smooth and that helps you understand all aspects of what is going on.
About Richie.
Throughout these two movies, you see how the patriarchal families interact and how you see the complexities of each character making up the whole of a family in each role. Both these families had major impacts on society, where they used certain cinematic techniques to portray the scattered nature of the family and convey the varying family dynamics in each. I chose this film because of the unique dynamics of the two families. Though they have different structures and they are of different times, you see how American patriarch families have evolved over time.
Good. Because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.